Welcome back to another episode on Anxiety Doesn't Own Me podcast. My name is Emmanuel Isaacson, and I'm an anxiety coach who helps people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally. On today's episode, what I'm going to be talking about is how important self-esteem is for your recovery and overcoming your anxiety. I've talked about self-esteem and how it's the root cause, one of the root causes of having anxiety, and for that to develop you for an anxiety disorder. Because think about it this way: whenever you have a low self-esteem, what happens is that you are more stressed out in general. You have more pressure. You are more worried about things, and that actually affects your anxiety because it's putting pressure on the sympathetic nervous system. And this is one of the reasons why you developed an anxiety disorder, is because your sympathetic nervous system is on overdrive. So from years and years and years of you experiencing pressure, worry, and stress, what happened was that your sympathetic nervous system can no longer handle it, that a certain event, or it didn't even have to be an event, it can be even something small, that pushed it to overdrive and what made you develop an anxiety disorder. So we want to start working on our self-esteem, and I'm going to show you guys why that is actually true and why your self-esteem is such a key component in your recovery and in calming down your anxiety. And this is something, guys, whenever I was overcoming my anxiety that took me 3 years to overcome, that I realized after a while, after whenever I went to the social worker and I started to develop the coping mechanisms and understand what anxiety is, I still was experiencing anxiety, and I wanted to know why I was still experiencing anxiety. For what reason? And I just wanted to be in a place where I no longer had anxiety anymore. I just wanted to be anxiety free and be the person that I once was. And what I stumbled upon, and it wasn't something that was intentionally that I was specifically focusing like, oh, I knew that self-esteem is going to help me with my anxiety. I stumbled upon that while I was working on my self-esteem and my self-confidence, I all of a sudden became much calmer. I all of a sudden realized that my anxiety started to go away. And when I started to dig, I found out why. The self-esteem is has such a big impact on so many aspects in life, not only with your anxiety, with everything, with your relationships, with your work, with every aspect in your life. Your self-esteem is number one. It's the key to having everything. It's the cornerstone of mental health. That's what it is. So we want to work on our self-esteem, and I'm going to show you how your self-esteem is affecting your anxiety. Think about it this way. Whenever we have a low self-esteem, we don't think that, for example, that we are worthy enough. We don't think that we're good enough. We don't think that we're actually capable in doing anything. So, for example, whenever we go to a job interview, what happens is that we are very stressed out. But the job interview, because all we're thinking about is that they're not going to like me. They're definitely not going to hire me. I'm going to suck. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm afraid I'm going to make a fool out of myself. All you're doing, because you don't think that you're valuable enough, you are putting a lot of stress on yourself. That's going to create you more anxiety. You're going to feel more anxious. And what happens after the job interview? It's like, you feel like this relief. You feel good. Another example is that, let's say you're going on a date. You're thinking right away that the other person is not going to like you. You're going to right away thinking like, oh my God, they're going to see who I really am. They're not going to like me. They're going to think I'm not attractive, that I'm not interesting. So you're right away thinking all these negative things because you don't value yourself and you don't realize that, hey, you are worth it. That, hey, that person will be lucky to get to know you, and not coming from an egotistical point of view. It's coming more from a confidence. It's coming more from your self-esteem to know, hey, I have value. And I'm that person's going to be very lucky, and I'm going to be very lucky to have that person as well. So whenever you come with that mindset, you're not worried about what the other person is thinking about. You're not stressed out about if the person's going to accept you or not. And that's another big thing. People accepting you is a huge thing. Because number one, we don't accept ourselves, because if we did, our self-esteem would be much higher. But whenever we are always trying to please other people, and this is why a lot of people please other people, is because we want them to like us. Because for us, our approval comes from them. Our value comes from them and not from us. So whenever they're not going to like us, they're going to think, oh, you're a bad person, or you're a mean person, or you're an angry person, and you're such a rude person, or that you are not a giving person. And they can say a lot of negative things, but our value comes from them, and that puts all the control and power in the other person's hands. And what happens is that we're always worried and we're always stressed out about making sure that that person's going to accept us, making sure that that person's going to like us. That puts a lot of pressure on us, a lot of stress, especially when you're in a relationship. You're like literally trying to please the other person, but you forget about yourself. You have to understand that you are important, that you are worth it, that you are special, that you are amazing, that you are capable. Whenever you look at yourself in that kind of way, you automatically calm down. You're not caring of the other person and what they're telling you. Yeah, you can be respectful. Doesn't mean you're going to be disrespectful to the person. No, it just means that, hey, I know my value. And if you don't like who I am as a person, if you're not going to accept me for who I am a person, that's okay, because I accept who I am. And I love I love who I am. And getting to that point, being in love with yourself, and not in a selfish kind of way, it takes time. It's more of like understanding like, hey, it's okay that I have the good about me and I also have the bad about me. But what I'm going to focus on is on the good, and I'm going to fix the bad. We have to be okay and understand like, hey, I'm not good at this. I'm good at this. This is, by the way, a lot of people that have anxiety, they're perfectionists. Why are they perfectionists? Is because of their self-esteem. The self-esteem has such a big impact on us that the perfection gives us value. So for example, whenever we're trying to do something, it has to be perfect. If it's not going to be perfect, we are going to feel like we're not good enough. But whenever it does become perfect, whenever it is perfect, which is very hard to attain, and this is you being perfect for other people as well, acting perfectly for somebody else, being perfect, always doing the right thing, that puts a lot of pressure on somebody to always need to be that way and to try to attain that kind of level, which is impossible, guys. It's impossible to attain perfection. And this also got to do with our emotions, that we always want to be happy. We always want to feel good. 24/7, it's impossible to feel that way. It's impossible to attain happiness 24/7. Yeah, you can feel good for majority of the day. You can feel happy for the majority of the day, but there are going to be times where you're going to feel down. And I'm speaking for myself also, that I'm a person that, yeah, I do have majority of the time I feel great, but there are times, guys, that I feel down, that I feel exhausted, that I feel demotivated. And I say to myself, like, hey, that's fine. I'm supposed to feel this way because I have both within me, and every single person has that. They have that good emotions and also the bad emotions, and we need to embrace both. We have to embrace both. Let's say, for example, someone has anger. People don't like it. I used to have anger issues, and I hate my anger. I never used to like it. I'm not saying that I enjoy being angry. No, I don't enjoy being angry. But at the same time, I acknowledge, like, hey, right now I'm angry. Right now, I'm frustrated. Whenever me and my wife, for example, when we get something is bothering me, I'm annoyed, and my wife is trying to talk to me or something is going on, I said to my wife, like, listen, right now, I'm angry. I don't want to talk about it. It doesn't mean I'm trying to escape from my anger. I try to understand my anger. I try to understand, like, hey, why am I angry right now, and how can I fix this? And first things first, I'm just sitting with my anger. I may go out for a walk. I may get out of the house for a little bit to cool down. Whatever it is, whatever situation it is, even at work, let's say, I remember I used to get up and leave for a little bit. I used to take a 5-minute walk. I used to come back, but I would just sit with my anger, and I say to myself, okay, I'm feeling my anger. I'm frustrated right now. I tell the person, like, hey, listen, I prefer not talking about it because right now I'm very angry. I take a little break. I calm myself down, and then afterwards I think about, okay, how can I avoid this situation? How can I not let this situation happen again? Because I don't want to feel this experience again. And if it does happen, I'm okay with it. I am okay with it. But you see that I'm okay. You have to get to that point. And it's not an easy thing, by the way. Even to today, I still have that struggle. I still have that struggle where I don't like my anger.
Yeah, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing, of course, because at the same time, you don't want to be angry. And I try to fix it and I try to make sure that doesn't happen again. But if it does, I'm not getting angry about the fact that I'm getting angry and telling myself, like, hey, Manuel, you shouldn't be angry right now. You shouldn't be feeling this way. And this is a lot of people with anxiety. Oh, I shouldn't be experiencing anxiety right now. Because again, you're trying to attain perfection, which you have no anxiety 24/7. Again, that's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get to that point. You can't be perfect right now. We have to start somewhere, and we are going to fail. And being okay with the fail and not looking like, oh my God, I shouldn't be feeling this way. No, this is the way you feel right now. And it's okay to feel this way right now. Again, you don't have to lash out and you don't have to act towards it. You can embrace it and feel it and be with it. And by the way, passes by the emotion much quicker. And then afterwards, what you could do is start working on your emotion and start understanding, okay, why did this happen? How can I not let this happen again? But you see, this all comes from our self-esteem. That's the key right here. If we have a healthy self-esteem, we can work on ourselves and overcome our anxiety much easier. We feel less stressed out. We feel less worried. We won't worry about what other people are thinking about us. We're not worried about situations happening that we don't like. We are going to be able to look at the situation and say, okay, right now I'm in this kind of situation right now. I'm kind of dealing with anxiety right now. I don't want to. And a lot of people, they compare themselves to other people, like saying like, oh, this person is not experiencing anxiety and I am, and I have to go through this. This really sucks. Why do I need to go through it? That means I'm a weak person. It doesn't mean you're weak. You're worrying about other people. You're comparing yourself to other people, and that's stressing you out and saying, I need to be where that person is, being anxiety free. Yeah, you can take inspiration from people. Like for me, for example, I take inspiration from Les Brown, from the person that he was and the person that he is today and the mindset that he is. I envy him, but in a good way of like, hey, listen, I want to attain that. But I'm not comparing myself to Les Brown. It's impossible because Les Brown had a different life than me. He grew up different, a different time completely. And I came from a different place, from a different background. And I can't compare myself to Les Brown. But I look up to him and I respect the person. And I try to attain myself and say, listen, I want that kind of mindset. But whenever we're trying to compare ourselves and say, you know what, I'm not like this person, I'm going through anxiety, that means I'm weak. No, it's just meaning that you're going through anxiety. And who says if that person didn't go through your life wouldn't experience anxiety as well? 100% you would have definitely experienced anxiety. It doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you went through more things in life. And again, even with that, we can't even compare. But you have to look at yourself and stop worrying about other people. Because again, at the end of the day, it's not easy, of course, to do. But at the end of the day, it's going to help you to reduce your anxiety. Because you see, our self-esteem is key over here. So whenever we work on our self-esteem, we're no longer going to be worried about what other people think. We're not going to be stressed out. We're not going to have pressures. And we're going to be able to handle the pressures and the stresses and the worry in life much better, much easier. And this way, it will help us. And this is what's going to help us to repair our sympathetic nervous system, which is very important. And that's something that we need to do. We need to repair the sympathetic nervous system. And the way to do it is to take off the stress and the worry and the pressure. And the way to do that is to work on the self-esteem. So if you work on the self-esteem, that will help you take off that pressure from your sympathetic nervous system, and that's going to help you to stop experiencing anxiety, and that's going to help you to feel much calmer. And this is something that I did, and this is what helped me for 9 years already, coming on to 10 years, where I am anxiety-free, meaning anxiety disorder. Again, I do have anxiety here and there with situations, but I'm able to handle it. It's not the anxiety disorder I deal with, it's just regular anxiety, which is normal, but I'm able to handle that. So guys, at the end of the day, try to work on yourself with your self-esteem. Try to read a book, whatever it is. I also do sessions. This is exactly what I do with the sessions for. I go to your subconscious mind, and what I do in the subconscious mind is I heal the wounds from your past, and I build your self-esteem at the same time, and as well with the conscious mind. So I attack it from both sides. This is what I do with the sessions with people, and this is why I'm able to help people to overcome their anxiety. And if you're interested, again, I have a 30-minute free session. You can click on the link below, and you can set that up. It's 100% free. And if you want to continue the session afterwards, I'll be more than happy to help you out with it because I know what to do and how it's going to help you and what you need to do in order for you to overcome and heal your anxiety.
If you did like this episode, please click the like button and leave a 5-star review. The reason why I ask is because this way we're able to reach more people, and the more people that we can actually reach, the more people that we can actually help. Because my mission in this world, my purpose is to help people to overcome and heal their anxiety naturally and show them that it's possible to overcome. Thank you guys. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.